Hello and welcome. My name is Mike Savage, and I wanted to share with you a little bit about how I start my day. And I'm hoping that this slide did a little bit to sort of stop you in your tracks. And what I wanted to do was sort of share with you, I'm making a pretty bold prediction here, where you are guaranteed to have incredible health, happiness, and massive success if you do this every day. It's like, well, what is this, secret formula, Mike, that is going to guarantee this stuff? So I wanted to share with you something that I've worked on over the past several years. And I call this the Savage Sunrise. And this is my 7-step system to, own your morning and win the day. There is a reality. The way that we start our day has a tremendous impact on how our day goes. I'm not the only one professing this. I'm not sort of creating this from scratch. There is science behind this. And what I want to do is sort of share what I do. That doesn't mean it's the only way to do it, but as we go through this journey called life, we're often faced with some challenges and some obstacles. And this is just one thing that I have found that has dramatically changed my life over the last several years. Again, if you've followed me for any period of time, you followed my work, I am just hardcore addicted to the entrepreneur, the entrepreneurial spirit, the go-getter attitude, the approach, the toughness, the tenacity, the roller coasters that we all go through. I've started and built several multi-million dollar businesses at this point. I've had some phenomenal wins and some crushing defeats. And there's a lot of stuff that we go through on a day in and day out basis. So, let's talk about the entrepreneur, right? Now, is this how you, whether you're a man or a woman, is this how you envision your day as an entrepreneur? It's kind of like kick back, relax, just enjoy life. Everything's cool, no challenges, no disappointments. Or is this kind of maybe where you see yourself? A little bit of frustration, sort of challenge. The reality is we are the only ones that are wacky enough to work 80 hours a week to avoid working 40 hours a week for someone else. So is it a sickness? Is it a disease? I don't know. But I am inspired by the people that go on this journey. And I wanted to share some pretty cool stuff with you. So let's just take a look at whether you're an entrepreneur or not. We have a personal life, right? We're actual human beings. We're men and women. I always say we were men and women long before we were businessmen and businesswomen. So, but this is the kind of stuff that we have. It's a normal day. And especially over the last, year and a half, we've had this other thing called COVID-19 and a pandemic. But we all have this stuff where we have our spouse, our parents, our friends, our children, our school. We have sicknesses, we have death in our families. We have challenges, financial challenges. We have, constantly bombarded with news. If you are crazy enough to watch the news, I don't watch the news, but if you're crazy enough to watch it, they will just pound you with all the negative stuff going on in society. But this is a reality, right? This is the world that we live in. This is our personal life. Now, let's take the next level, right? This is our business life. And as entrepreneurs, especially as entrepreneurs going through the last 18 months, 15 months, our life has been kind of turned upside down. So with or without COVID, or without a pandemic, we still have this stuff. But if we were fortunate enough to be going out there and trying to get PPP loans and EIDL loans, that adds another burden. We have the challenges with our employees and finances and creditors and supply chain, and government makes changes, and you're sitting there trying to develop a product portfolio, your service portfolio, and figuring out who is your target market or ideal client, and what's my marketing plan, and what do I do for social media, and how do I organize my team, and how do I build culture? So we've got all of this stuff in our business life. Now, put them together. This is the life of the entrepreneur, right? we have all of this stuff compounded, and oftentimes it can take a toll. During this journey, we all go on our unique journeys. I had a very unique experience several years ago, where I call this my 4-week life lesson. It wasn't a particularly wonderful time in my life. Sometimes the tough things help us appreciate the good times. So, but I had a company, I've been running it for 15 years. And for the last 3 years or so, it was kind of struggling. And similarly, during this same period of time, my mom was sick. My mom had lung cancer, and we were spending once a week, every 2 weeks, going to chemo, getting our treatments. If you've ever been through the cancer journey, or if you've ever had a loved one go through the cancer journey, you sit there and get the chemo drips. And, it's special time for us. We spent a lot more time together. But it ultimately, she ended up passing away. And I remember when this happened, I said to my wife, Dawn, and I had actually started the company that we were running. It grew from an idea to a $25 million business. We had 50 employees. So it grew to a big business, but it started to fade, and we started having challenges. And I remember saying to my wife, I said, "Hun, we now have a guardian angel up in heaven. Like, I know that she's going to share with us whatever the things we need to do, and maybe move the chess pieces around the board to make it just right so that our business turns around." But then 7 days later, I got a letter from my bank that said, "Mike, I need you to cut me a check for $1 million, or we're going to shut you down." While I was able to come up with the money, I had a very smart advisor that said, "Mike, this might not be the best move." So that was difficult. 7 days after that, Donna goes into the hospital with pneumonia, and it was not a good situation. It was pretty severe. And then no less than 7 days later, I received a wonderful letter from our friends down in Washington where I was being audited. This, needless to say, was not a particularly fun experience. And so what happened to me? What happened to my mindset? What were the things going on? What was my state of mind like? And I've talked about this many times throughout any speech I've ever done, is this thing that sits on top of our shoulders is the most powerful, the most valuable thing on earth. And so during this period, my language was not good. The types of things that I was saying is, my child is dying. These were the things going through my head. Now, at the time, I had 2 teenage kids, and I had a teenage business, and these are the conversations I was having with myself. I failed my investors. My dream is gone. What am I going to do about my employees? I fell in love with these people over the years. I had some that worked for me for 15 years, and just like, well, family. I was now at that point, I was over 50 years old. What do I do? And what are my friends going to think? Do I go and get a job? I hadn't had a job in 30 years. Do I go back to the job market? And ultimately, psychologically, I was my business. My business was an extension of me. And so if my business was dying, guess what? I was dying too. And so what happened? What was the result of this language and this state of mind? I was in therapy. I saw a therapist for more than 2.5 years. And I swore that I would never do this, but I was on medication to sort of help me through this. It wasn't fun. I was having panic attacks. I don't know if you know what a panic attack is, but it was scary as heck, especially for Donna. I would wake up in the middle of the night on the floor, screaming at the top of my lungs in tears. It just wasn't good. I was having extremely dark thoughts. If you want to think, use your imagination, what are some dark thoughts people can have when they're going through a traumatic state? That was it. I was not sleeping. My family was a mess. I was overindulging in alcohol, and physically, I was always a workout guy, exercise guy. I always took care of myself, but physically I was a mess. And so I flashed back to my guardian angel. Now, why was this happening? So this is my mom. And I kept saying to myself, why is this? This is not the path that we agreed to. Like, you're my guardian angel. Now you're supposed to fix that other thing. It didn't work. And so I also took the initiative and I hired myself a coach, a business coach, a Tony Robbins coach. And his name was Charlie Mills. His name is Charlie Mills. He's actually still my coach. And I remember one day we were on a call and I was in a very bad, dark spot. And I remember him screaming at me saying, "You get up." So I stood up, I got up off of the chair and he says, "Start repeating after me." And he said, started talking to me about my language, my physiology, my belief system, and all this stuff that I knew was bad, but I needed some help to get pulled out of that. And so during our time together, he helped me reinvent my language. After a period of time, my language changed significantly. My belief systems, my self-talk, my philosophies on life changed. So my language shifted, and I call this was my savage state. And I can call it savage state because that's kind of my name. So, but in all seriousness, my language shifted and my belief system shifted. And so I'm going to share with you the G-rated version of my language shift. There was, I would say that there was some 4-letter words throughout this, but it was an exciting period. My language changed, so it ain't over until I say it's over. I did it before. Donna and I did it before. We will do it again. I will start fresh. I will start something new. I will start something different. I am one high energy individual. I'm bouncing back. I will bounce back better and stronger than I ever was before. I have 30 years of experience in starting and building companies and creating culture and employees. I will create something new and something better. And this last one, and I'll strongly, highly recommend you look this up. It's a poem called the Desiderata. And in that poem, one of the things that they say is, whether or not it is clear to you, the universe is unfolding as it should. Now, that's easier to be said when things are going great. It's a lot more difficult when things are going through difficult times. In any event, a beautiful poem. This is the result of my mindset change, my state change, my language change, my philosophical change, my morning routine dramatically changed and dramatically impacted this. But I started 3 new businesses. I wrote two ebooks. My diet and fitness has never been better. I've never been in a better state of health. May come as a surprise, but I have a ton of energy. This was not always the case. I'm super excited. I own my mornings. I've added thousands and thousands of people to my network, to my social media network, to my physical network. I've spoken all over the globe, and I have more passion and drive and happiness today than I ever did almost at any time during my life. So incredible, the transition that's happened over a few years. And so what I want to do is I want to share with you my morning routine, and I have been committed to this for several years now. This is actually me. This is actually my backyard. I live on a reservoir, and I am here every morning. Sometimes it's dark, but usually between 4:30 and 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. I go down there with my coffee, but my day starts off with a cold plunge. As soon as my eyes open, I don't sit there. I don't hit the snooze button. I don't hit the alarm. It all depends on the time of year, but I will either jump into my ice cold shower or I will jump into our pool. Now, we live up in New England in the Boston area, and we open our pool at the end of March. Pool water hovers around 40 degrees. So once you make the decision to jump in, you're awake. You're not going back to sleep. You're not hitting the snooze button. You're awake and you're full of energy. And there's really 2 reasons that I do a cold plunge. Reason number 1 is I know that there are physiological changes that it makes in your body chemistry. But I typically don't do it because of that. I do it because it requires 0 skill, 0 talent, 0 physical skill. All it requires is this. It is difficult to do it. Make no mistake about it. This is not something every single morning I wake up like, boy, I can't wait to jump into a 40-degree pool or jump into a 45-degree shower. That's not typical, but you start the day off with a win. and you know that the only thing, it doesn't require skill, it's just mental toughness. Then I don't just go and brush my teeth. What I do is a process that I call brush and build. And we all brush our teeth and we all shower, hopefully. It's not just brushing our teeth. Right now, during that moment, early in the morning, our subconscious is so active. It's so open to suggestion and ideas and different things. It's just there. It's ready to go. So while I'm brushing my teeth and getting ready, I'm also listening to positive stuff. I'm listening to podcasts. I am listening to books. I am listening to whatever kind of audio through my phone that I can. And it's my time to start pumping in what I say, the good, the clean, the pure, the powerful, and the positive. Get yourself fired up early in the morning. Stop putting the good stuff in. Then I will go down to my lake. I will get my cup of coffee and I will go down to the lake, the reservoir, and I will sit there and I will meditate anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes. If you never tried meditation, give it a shot. It's not for the crazies. I used to think it was all, woo-woo stuff and didn't really make sense. It's not. It's magical. It takes practice. It takes a while to get there. But if you can give yourself 10 minutes and you can download an app on your phone, there's a lot of ways that you can meditate. And then I transition right into gratitude. I think about those things in my life that I am grateful for. As we talked earlier, when you look at the personal challenges that we all have in our lives, and then the business challenge and the total life of an entrepreneur, there's a lot of stuff that you can focus on that's negative. But there is a reality, scientific proof that you can't be grateful and thankful and pissed off and angry and frustrated at the same time. So all of us have these challenges, these challenging periods that we go through in life. Though that's when this becomes most valuable. What are those things that I can be most grateful for? Quick story. I've got a buddy whose wife is sick with cancer, and she's been sick for a long time. And we were on the phone the other day, and he said, Mike, I know the end is near, and it's very difficult. 2 teenage children, and he said, but I'm so grateful for the times that we had together. Now, this is a guy that's going through pretty much one of the worst things you could possibly go through in life, and he's still appreciating the good things. It's very difficult to do this, but please, I implore you to give this a shot. Gratitude. And then I pray. I pray for the people that are in my life going through tough times, like my friend. I pray for those people that are going through suffering. I pray for entrepreneurs who had their entire livelihood pulled away from them because of COVID-19 and the pandemic. And then I start to visualize my day. And the day starts off with self-talk. The day starts off with visualization of the perfect day. Maybe I don't even visualize it perfect day. I visualize something in the future that makes me feel good and makes me happy. And then ultimately I take the field. Some people, can finish this off with exercise. Some people can start with exercise. I've always been kind of like an afternoon, midday exercise person. And it just happens to work with me and my schedule. But if you think about taking the field, think about the football team, the team that's in the locker room, right? And they're getting ready for the game, and they're getting ready for that day. And as soon as they exit out of the locker room, they don't hold hands and skip and hum a tune, right? When they exit the locker room, they go out there and attack. They go out there excited, full of positive energy, full of optimism, full of fire in their belly. And that takes them out onto the field. And so they take the day, and you don't win every day and you don't win every game, but it's certainly a great way to start your day. So again, this is my morning routine. This is my Savage Sunrise. There's the cold plunge, the brush and build, meditate, gratitude, prayer, visualization, and jumping out and taking the field. I hope that you were able to pull some stuff from this. I hope that you can at least try to see if you can incorporate some of this stuff into your day. I promise you, you'll find it magical. I promise you that you'll find it spiritual. It's available free of charge to everybody on the planet. It's just a matter of learning this stuff. And I always say, if you want to get better at anything. You want to hang around with people that play the game better or differently than you do. I started learning from other people that were taking a different approach to adversity. I started to learn some of their philosophies and some of their strategies, and I'm just sharing this with you. So if you're an entrepreneur, I love you to death. I love your spirit. I love your energy. I love your fire. If you're an entrepreneur working for someone else, if you're a entrepreneur, you want to start a business, if you're a solopreneur, whatever kind of preneur you are, I challenge you to dig in, see if this can help you a little bit. And I'd also like to share, I have a couple of ebooks that you can download for free. The first one is Dream Big and Crush Your Goals. And depending on when you're watching this, the second book, Triple Play, Only 3 Ways to Grow Your Business. Both of these are available on my website, thesavagesecrets.com/playbook. If you have any thoughts, please reach out. I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear, especially if you go on and embark on a morning routine and you try some of this stuff. How is it working for you? How is the journey? Is it changing? I have found when I skip this, if something happens, and I got to admit, I don't do it every single day of my life, but I'm pretty close to 99, 98%. And it changes. It's dramatic. So any stories of success, I'd love to hear them. Thank you for your time. Go dream big, go crush your goals, and have fun on this entrepreneurial journey. Have an awesome, awesome day.